because hello everybody. Welcome to Thursday's Coffee Talk. I'm really excited to be here with you guys and talk and just continue on helping you guys figure out your 12-week year, your goal setting, your for the year, your 12-week goals. So I know last time, and you had extra time to do it if you were on the one that we talked about vision and crafting your vision for 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, 15 years out. You've had extra time to do that. So I hope that you guys all took that seriously, because this part won't make sense. And this part, you're not going to be able to do this part unless you did the vision part. So super important that you crafted that vision. So now we're going to talk about how do you set up a 12-week year? And you're going to do this every 12 weeks, right? So like I said before, when people set year-long goals, they set this goal out for a year, and it's probably some, big goal, and they don't ever really think about it, or they think they have all this time to do it. And so they're like, oh, well, I got 9 more months. I got 6 more months. And then all of a sudden the end of the year's here, and they're like, well, shoot, I didn't even look at reverse engineering this goal at all, right? That's why New Year's resolutions don't work. So setting your goals into 12-week chunks is going to help you so much align with that bigger vision and move the needle much faster and get you really to those goals. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick out 2 to 3 goals that you want to achieve in the next 12 weeks. So and these should align with that longer term vision, right? If you have a long-term vision to, let's just put mine out there or whatever, to own multiple food trucks in multiple areas, right? My 12-week goal should align with that. My 12-week goal shouldn't be to start looking at how to open a coffee shop, right? Right? It should align with your bigger long-term vision. So 2 to 3 goals that are the most, that you feel in the next 12 weeks are the most important, are the things that you really want to focus on. And so take some time to figure it out. Maybe you only have 2, maybe you have 3. I had 3, okay? So how do you set this up? 1, your goals should be specific. Now, you've probably heard of SMART goals, right? We're going to do a variation of the SMART goal because one of the things in there, it needs to be tweaked a little bit. The SMART goal is a little outdated, but for the most part, it still works. The SMART goal, the first, it should be specific with specific dates. So for example, let me just go back to mine. My first one is I want to launch my podcast. I want to launch my podcast by January 30th. SMART, it's specific, right? Has a date attached to it. My next is I want to launch our second food truck in Florida by February 20th. Again, very specific, has a date on it. My next is that I want to enroll or get into a life coaching program by March 6th. Very specific, right? I have the Tony Robbins thing actually that landed in my lap after I wrote that goal. It was really weird. I'm in Mastery University with Tony Robbins. This is a total side note, but it's weird how when you set your intentions and you say things, how the universe rearranges and puts things in your lap. So I made this SMART goal. And then because I'm part of Tony Robbins Mastery University, I'm getting coaching from him. I was offered to apply for his life coaching program. So kind of funny, but anyways, that's total tangent. So should be specific with dates, right? And it should be obviously dates within the next 12 weeks, right? It should be measurable. How are you going to measure this? Mine are very measurable. Either the podcast launches or it doesn't launch, right? It's very measurable. If you want to lose 15 pounds in the next 12 weeks, that's you can measure that. You can measure how much weight you've lost, right? So it should be measurable. It shouldn't be just like a pie in the sky. I'm trying to think of what wouldn't be a measurable goal, but know that you need to have a way to measure it. You need to have a way to track it along these 12 weeks. How am I going to look? How am I going to measure how I'm doing, right? It should, and now this is where there should be actionable items, which we're going to talk about. The tactics. I like tactics better. Anyways, it fits more with the 12-week year. But here's where this old SMART goal mentality I don't like. When they say realistic, I'm going to throw in, it should be a realistic stretch. It should be a stretch. If you don't have to change anything that you're doing right now in your current day-to-day life to hit a goal, that's not a goal. It's not a realistic stretch. If you own a Pontiac and your goal at the end of 12 weeks is to buy another Pontiac, there's nothing you really got to do differently, right? Like if your actions, your day-to-day actions don't need to be changed at all to hit the goal, you're already on track to do it. Like you're already doing the thing. That's not a stretched goal. That's not a goal. That's like, no, you need a realistic stretch. Now, realistic stretch, it shouldn't be something like, if you've never earned $50,000 in a 12-week period of time and you've only earned 5 in 12 weeks, earning $50,000 in the next 12 weeks is probably too much of a stretch, right? So that's what I mean by realistic stretch. It should be realistic, but it should also stretch you. You should have to change things in your current day-to-day life to actually get there. Launching my podcast. I'm not doing all the things to have a podcast right now. So there's things, it's stretching me to do that. So pick those out. And what was I going to say on this? Okay. Then you're going to list your tactics. Okay. So you're going to have your 3 goals. And they could be very different. One could be like a health goal. One could be a career goal or your business. One could be, they could be completely not related goals, by the way. Then you're going to brain dump under each goal, brain dump all of the things that you can possibly think of that you would need to do to achieve that goal, right? And just list them out. I like to get into a peak state before I do this. I'm going to give you a little activity to do so that you can do this, is that I want you to get into a peak state. You're going to jump up and down. You're going to blast music. And I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to visualize and say out loud how you would feel when you achieve that goal. I would feel excited. I'd feel accomplished. I'd feel powerful, right? And I want you to just rattle them off. How are you going to feel when you achieve that goal? You've achieved the goal. How are you going to feel? I want you to get in peak state. I want you to rattle those off, how you would feel. Then I want you to visualize you reaching that goal. And I want you to then, what does it mean to you and who did you need to become to achieve that goal? I needed to become powerful. I needed to become confident, right? What does it mean to him? It means I'm impacting lives. It means I'm making a difference. It means people are being helped by my word. My podcast is impacting people's lives. It's helping people grow. So rattling off what it would mean if you hit that goal, who you needed to become, how does it feel when you hit that goal? Okay. And then I want you to sit down, and in that state, I want you to brain dump what it is that you need to do, to all the tactics that you would need to do to hit that goal. I'm just throwing out my podcast here. So I needed to purchase the equipment. I needed to get the name. I need to record the intro. I need to pick the intro music. I need to start creating the content. I need to sit down and write out several weeks episodes, right? I need to get on a hosting platform. So brain dump all the things that you would need to do to hit that goal. Okay. Then what I want you to do, I don't have a pen out here, but I'll explain it. Then after that, what I want you to do is I want you to write the goal at the top. And then I want you to write out week 1, ... week 2, week 3, write out week 1 through 12. Okay. You have all your tactics brain dumped, all the things you would need to do to hit the goal. Then you're going to write out week 1. What are the things from that list that need to happen first? Prioritize them. Right? I need to buy the equipment first. Can't do a podcast without the mic, right? I needed to figure out what hosting platform I'm going to do. That's super important. I had no clue, right? Needed to figure that out. Needed to sign up for that account. I needed to figure out the name of the podcast. Those are like the 3 most important things that I needed to do in week 1. So then I got a plan, right? I know what I'm doing week 1. Then go, figure out like 2 to 3 things. And there only might be a couple of things, that needed to happen, or there might be a whole lot of things that need to happen depending on the goal, right? For our food truck, there's a whole lot more things that need to happen versus launching a podcast. The licensing, the building of the truck, the space, a lot more things need to happen. So then I want you to prioritize every week. What are the tactics each week that are going to get you to that goal? And by the end of the 12 weeks, all those things, you should be hitting that goal. That goal should be like, ta-da, right? Now, some of these tactics are going to be things that are going to be repeated every week. If you have a goal to lose 15 pounds in the next 12 weeks, exercising every day, that week 1, 2, 3, 4, all through 12, those tactics are going to be exercise every day, right? Reduce my calorie intake by 500 every week, right? And some of the things under your tactics will only need to happen once. I only needed to buy my podcast equipment once. That's not something I'm going to be doing on repeat, right? But creating the content for my podcast is something I'm going to need to do every single week. So some tactics are going to be one time. Some tactics are going to be repeated throughout the 12 weeks, right? So now you got a plan. Now you have exactly every single week, everything that you need to do week by week to hit that goal, that whatever that goal is at the end of your 12 weeks. And so now you can write out in, actionable plan, like, here's my goal. In week 1, I am going to buy the equipment, figure out the name, and get set up on a hosting platform. In week 2, I'm going to do this and this and this, right? And you can write out all 12 weeks. So now when you go to do your weekly planning, which this all ties in, right? If you're not doing weekly planning, I can continue to help you around that, but it's super important, okay? Because when you're not in preparation, when you're not planning, and I always say this, it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall, see if it sticks, right? You don't want your life being spaghetti thrown at a wall. You want preparation and planning as much as you possibly can, right? To plan out a life that you absolutely love and are obsessed with. So then when you sit down to do your weekly planning, which I do every Sunday, I do my content planning and my weekly planning. I have a planner. I use the goal. I think it's Goal Getter. I can link it in our big Telegram team chat, the one I use. I've tried so many. I typically hate planners. I buy so many planners. I never use them. They never see the light of day. They sit on my desk and they never get used. For some reason, the Goal Getter one I can actually stick to. It lays out each week and it time blocks every day, which is what I needed. I don't like the ones that just have the calendar with the squares. I'm like, how do I put everything in there? So I needed something that lays out every week and so that I can time block. So then when you sit down to do your weekly planning, you look at your goals, right? Because your weekly plan should be aligned with the 12-week plan. And so when you sit down on Sunday, you go, okay, what are my goals for 12 weeks? What did I say I was going to do in week 1? Okay. And so you're fitting in your probably your full-time job, your network marketing business, right? Whatever goals, what calls we have for the team, coffee talk, kids appointments, family time, miracle morning, exercise, all of that goes into my weekly planning. And I write it all in, I time block what I'm going to do here. And then I look at, okay, what's my 12-week goal? And what did I say I was going to do on week 1? And where am I going to put that? Where specifically write it down? Okay, here's when I'm going to order the equipment, or here's when we're going to get our food truck licensing. For each of those goals that you picked, maybe you only have 2 goals. Maybe you only have 1 goal in the 12-week year. That's okay. If you're like, I can only really think of 1 goal that I want to achieve the next 12 weeks, that's okay. But it shouldn't be more than 3 is what I'll say, because then you're getting a little bit too overwhelmed and you're going to get discouraged and overwhelmed. So for each goal, you have your 12-week plan, right? You're written out for every goal. You should do the weeks 1 through 12. So then I oops, someone's calling me. So then I look at my goals and the 12 weeks that I've written when I do my Sunday planning, and I say, okay, now what are the actionable tasks, the tactics that I said I was going to do on week 1? And I write that in to my Sunday planning for the week. That way I know Tuesday come along, it's noon, I'm looking at my thing. Okay, noon. Oh, this is when I wrote down that I was going to do this, and I do it. You have to be accountable as well. Accountability is a huge piece of this. And so I encourage you to, share your 12-week goal, share your plan with your spouse or your family or your kids, or maybe you have a best friend that you are really good with helping each other kind of stay accountable, right? Maybe it's someone in business. It's really good to have someone that you can stay accountable with, because accountability is literally everything. And if you don't have that person, be accountable to yourself. Don't let yourself off the hook. If you make a commitment to yourself, you need to get really good. If you want to achieve success in life, you have to get really good at keeping commitments to yourself, not just other people, but yourself. If I say I'm going to work out, I'm going to get up and I'm going to work out. If I let myself off the hook, if I don't keep that commitment to myself, then I'm only hurting me, right? But it's also really hard for me to have any accountability in other aspects of my life or any accountability with other people. You say you're going to do something, do it. Be a woman or a man of your word. And so the accountability piece, even writing this out on paper and getting this plan sorted out for you, that's a form of accountability, right? If you just, you're on this call and you're like, man, that sounds like a great idea. And then you go on with your life and you don't do it, that's missing that accountability piece to yourself, right? Or maybe you think this is stupid and then you don't want to do it. That's fine. But if you're like, man, this would really help me, I think I should do this for my life, then it's going to be really important for you to hold yourself accountable and sit down. And trust me, this only will take you probably not even an hour to go through 2 or 3 goals. You probably know them off the top of your head. If you did the vision part, you probably know what it is you really want to achieve in the next 12 weeks. Maybe not. Maybe you have some yearly goals that you need to say, okay, what are the ones that are most pressing? What are the ones that are going to move the needle forward on the bigger ones? What are the ones that are the most realistic stretch for me in the next 12 weeks? But then when you go through this process, get into your peak state, get fired up, get that central nervous system aligned, and then rattle off and brain dump all the things that you need to do for each, and really visualize and feel what it would like. Who would you become if you achieved that goal? What would it mean to you? What kind of feelings would you have about yourself, right? Feel those and then brain dump those tactics to get there. And once you brain dump the tactics, the rest is easy. The rest is easy to say, okay, well, clearly this needs to happen first, week 1, then week 2, it would make sense to do that, week 3, and so on. And like I said, some of them are going to be repeat. If it's a personal health goal, a lot of the things that you have to do to get there are going to be repetitive every single day and every single week. It's not rocket science to get healthy, right? It's like it's the same routine every day. Some of them are going to be one-offs. Some are going to be like, I did that. Okay, accomplish that. So, and then just get your 12 weeks going for each of your goals. And then your Sunday planning becomes so much easier. You're not sitting there going, what am I supposed to do this week? I've outside of my job and my kids, I'm like, what am I don't know what else to put in there. Because you know your goals and you know the tactics to get there now every 12 weeks. And you know then how to put it in a weekly plan. So it gives you anxiety. Yes, I completely understand. I am not a planner by nature. I am a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person. Okay. But I will tell you, when I lived that way, I got to nowhere. I stayed stuck. I mean, I got a little ways, right? I was able to accomplish some things, but then I got stuck there because I didn't have a plan. And I was just kind of like, woo, going through life, ping pong, getting hit around by my kids' activities, my spouse, my job, right? Just going through the motion, going through life, instead of me having control, me behind the wheel, right? You want to be behind the wheel of your own life. Everything else gets to ride shotgun. The anxiety gets to ride shotgun. The fear gets to ride shotgun. It's all going to be there. But you need to take control and say, look, I might have anxiety and fear around this whole planning thing. I'm not used to it. I don't know how to do it. And that's normal, but I'm going to grow through it. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to hash this out. I'm going to look at my life and say, what do I want to accomplish in the next 12 weeks? It's going to be scary. There should be a level of uncomfortableness. If it's not uncomfortable, like I said, it's not stretching you. If it's not uncomfortable and you don't have to change a darn thing in your life, it's not a goal. It's not a realistic stretch. It's just realistic at that point. It's just like, well, you're going to get there because you're already doing the things to get there, right? For me, losing weight is not a goal for me because I'm already on the health journey. I'm already like work out every day. I juice, I eat clean, right? I know it's going to get there, but it's not a stretch for me to say, I'm going to lose 10 pounds in the next 12 weeks. That doesn't make me uncomfortable. That doesn't go, oh gosh, I don't know how to get there. I have to look and plan this out because I'm already doing it. So if your life, if it doesn't require any changes in your day-to-day life, then it's not a realistic stretch goal. It's just something you're already going to hit because you're already doing it, right? So it should be uncomfortable. It should, new habits are hard, guys. New habits are hard to set in, to acquire. You know, that's why 3% of the population are making all the money. That's why 97% of the population are unhappy, unfulfilled, overweight, in jobs they hate, not making money, broke, paycheck to paycheck, right? Because this stuff requires work. It's hard. It's hard implementing new habits. It's hard getting rid of bad habits and implementing new habits. It does take work, and it does take pushing yourself, and it does take reaching into new levels of yourself to do it, right? You got to dig. You got to dig a little bit deeper within you and say, how bad do I want to change? It's uncomfortable to change, but it sure is uncomfortable to stay the same, right? Choose your comfort, choose your hard, right? It's hard to change, but it's also hard to stay the same. So you got to say, okay, I'm going to choose my hard. I'm going to get uncomfortable. This is a growth season. This is new for me. Anything new, anything that you have not done, it's going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be moments of hard. There's going to be times where you're like, screw this. I don't want to do it anymore. I just want to stay comfortable. Your old paradigm is always going to want you to stay comfortable. Your old paradigm is always going to be clawing at you to just stay in your comfort zone. Just sit on the couch and watch Netflix when you get home from work all night. You don't need to chase those goals. That's what it's going to tell you. That's what those mind gremlins in your old paradigm is constantly going to be telling you. So you have to get really good at coaching yourself through it, at having your own self-talk and having your own back. You got to have your own back because no one else will. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to come, give you a silver spoon with all the money and all the accomplishments and everything you want on a silver platter, right? You got to do it for you. And you got to really look at your life and say, how do I want to live? Do I want to live this way forever? Or are some changes that I need to make? And if there's changes that you need to make, this part of planning, guys, this is probably one of the easiest parts of self-growth, is this little planning piece that I told you, this little goal setting thing. This is one of the easiest things. The growth, the forgiveness work, the trauma healing, the changing your paradigm, the mind gremlins, that's the hard part. Those are the things that are the hard part. This little activity, easy peasy when you think in the grand scheme of personal growth and inner work that needs to happen. But I'm going to help you guys continually on these coffee talks with all that other stuff too. But I really wanted to give you some tactical things at the beginning of the year that you could go out, set some goals, know how to make a plan, know how to reverse engineer it, to set your 2023 up for the best possible you that you can be. So I think that's all I got for today, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week. Today, there is a call at 4:15 Eastern Standard Time that corporate is doing. Very big, very important. If you can be on live, I highly, highly, highly encourage it. You guys are going to be so happy. It's good. It's all good. So I love you guys. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.